and welcome to MSTieCast. I'm your host, Toby Mobius, and joining me tonight is, of course, my cohort, Justin Toner.
Good evening.
And we have a very special guest. As teased in the last episode, especially the ending theme of the last episode, many of you noticed who was singing that Christmas song, and it was, of course, Harvey Finevoice. And we have the actor who plays Harvey Finevoice and sang that song, Mr. Louis Lovhaug of Atop the Fourth Wall, joining us once again. Hello, Louis.
Hang on, I'm playing Pokemon right now.
Louis, stop playing Pokemon and do the show. You can play with your Krabbies later.
Mm-hmm.
For as we all know, Krabby is the best Pokemon.
Krabby is best Pokemon.
Yes. If all of you don't follow his Tumblr in addition to ours, go do it, because it's awesome. Right now. How are you doing tonight, Mr. Lovhaug?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. A little tired. Got work I gotta get done later.
Me too.
Same old.
Yeah, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were going to try to do this a few weeks ago, but of course, plans, and of course you had to go to MagFest, which is, takes a lot of time out of your schedule to do. I want to go one year. I haven't been able to afford it, but hopefully next year I will be able to attend MagFest.
Oh, here's hoping.
Here's hoping. Doug is actually coming to my state very soon, so hopefully I'll get to see him. Fingers crossed. He's never attended a con in Georgia, and I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, what's the name of that con, by the way?
That is MomoCon 2014, which is Memorial Day weekend. A Memorial Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. And if all of you can go, you should, because it's awesome. Also, Maurice LaMarche is going to be there, and Rob Paulson, and Doug Walker, and other people. Plug. So, the main reason we asked you here, Louis, last time we talked about your MST3K fan film that you did in high school, and your other riffs, and other stuff like that. Well, you've been keeping busy doing riffs and such. And last month in particular, we did a month-long discussion on Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, the 3 different riffs of the MST3K version, the version by Riff Tracks, and the version by Cinematic Titanic, which is one of my personal favorites of theirs. Have you seen the Cinematic Titanic or Riff Tracks versions?
Of course, I've seen all 3 versions.
Excellent. Which one would you say is your favorite, if you have one?
I need to rewatch the Riff Tracks one more to have like a solid opinion on that. I'll say this. I mean, the MST one is the one I keep quoting to myself, and I keep thinking of whenever I was even while watching the Cinematic Titanic and Riff Tracks one, I was just thinking some of the jokes in my head just because I've seen that one so many times.
You remember that was one of Spoonie's problems. He did his stand-up set a few years ago, and was wearing the Voldar Was Right shirt, and he said that that's why he hasn't seen the Cinematic Titanic version, is because he just keep thinking of the old jokes.
I still love the new jokes. I keep thinking of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this several times on the show, one of my favorite parts of any Cinematic Titanic is when Trace is told the movie, and then he runs out screaming in the intro.
Yeah, that's
just
a great bit.
Wonderful.
Actually, what's more impressive about the Riff Tracks one was that they found another Christmas short, which I missed the very, very beginning of. I was there with Will Wolfgram, and he was coming from work, so I had to be there to give him his ticket.
Well, it's appropriate you saw a Christmas thing with Snowflame.
Indeed, but the thing is, since me and a few others have been doing our own fan riffs, because we they're fairly easy for us as comedians. They're fairly easy to put together when doing shorts.
Mm-hmm.
You could usually write one out in edit and get it all done within 2 hours.
Right.
But when it comes to something like Christmas shorts, we thought Riff Tracks had done them all, because most of us we get them from archive.org, and it's hard to find any more Christmas shorts on there that haven't been done before.
It's very true. I've looked into doing that myself, but they've all been done pretty much.
And then comes this weird toy one, and Snow Queen. I was like, where the hell did they find this? And it is actually on there if you look for it now.
Oh, it is on there. Oh wow.
It makes me wonder if like it's just a lot of the stuff has not officially gone into the public domain yet, and then when it actually does, it then finally ends up on there.
And they snatch it up first. They probably have people like looking at public domain lists just so they can know what they can put out. Or that's what I would do at least. But
yeah, that short was so disturbing. I was
still
like,
haven't seen it. I still haven't seen the same.
Oh, you live. Oh, that's right. You didn't get to see it.
No.
It's like that short was very disturbing. The brownie named Snoopy and everything. I was like, oh wow, this is something else. I don't know where they dug this up from, but dear God,
I like candy.
Yeah, the candy lion. Oh God, that was glorious.
Well, I apologize if I cough. I'm still kind of getting over a bit of illness from MagFest.
Plague.
That's okay. I've been fighting off a cough for like almost 2 weeks. I had like a cold right around Christmas time, and it's like I'm still got a lingering bit of a cough. So if I cough, don't pardon me.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually gotten sick at Christmas. Normally I get sick at Christmas and then afterwards I'm fine. But now I'm starting to get it like in the middle of January, which is weird. But it probably just because it's been so cold here. I can't remember the last time it got to 6 degrees at night here, but it did. Weird.
Have you been having trouble? Is it hard or easy to like go through all these like old shorts, whether they're educational or not, to try to find something that you think you can riff?
It's usually fairly easy to find something. I mean, I just now, earlier today, released a one called Family Life, which I knew instantly was going to be good because because within like the first few lines of dialogue, I heard them mention Crystal Lake, so I was like, okay, Jason Voorhees joke, I got this.
Yeah, I really like that joke. I was watching the video earlier, and I cracked up really good. As soon as I heard Crystal Lake, I was like, here comes the Friday the 13th riff. that was well done.
Plus, a Jason Takes Manhattan riff as well. So it's not only Friday the 13th, it's that really, really terrible part of the series, and I like that.
My jokes work on so many levels.
Speaking of your riffs and going back to Christmas, your riff of Scrooge, which I believe you said was the first talkie version of A Christmas Carol?
Yep. There were 2 previous versions which were silent and were much better than the talkie version.
Oh, really? Wow.
For one thing, they actually feature Marley.
Who isn't just an invisible non-effect.
Wow, I had no idea.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like I had no idea that they did that. It's like I don't think I've ever seen that one. I've seen so many versions of the Christmas Carol, but I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I came across that one like I think last year when I was first starting to look for Christmas riffs to do, because of course everyone it was the perfect time to do it. Get some extra revenue, and the good people at the Isle of Rangoon had found this little animated Christmas short that they had done and did a great job with it. It was basically it was like an orphanage. It was like really it was both depressing and awesome at the same time.
The Christmas tree, is that it?
No, not that one. This was like a 1930s, 1940s short.
Oh.
Okay.
So I thought that was the last Christmas one out there, but I came across like the silent versions, and I came across Scrooge, which was, of course, I was just like, oh god, this requires a lot more time than I have to put together. But next year I'm going to do something with this, and that's what I ended up doing.
And you did it with Amethyst, who plays Nimue on your show, and Will Wolfgren, who is Snowflame, and Jarrus.
And we actually recorded all of our stuff separate. Well, I say all of us separately. Basically, what happened was Will had to go back home for Christmas, and that was with his family in, I believe, Michigan, versus me, and Amethyst. Sometimes she doesn't care if her name is put out there. Sometimes she does. So we just stick to Amethyst. She lives about an hour and a half away from me. So she was coming down to the cities to see her family for Christmas, so it was a good opportunity. Will and I recorded our dialogue together whenever we had exchanges together separately, and then we recorded Amethyst and I separately when she came down. And at some points where it's all three of us talking at once, if you really, really, really pay attention, you can probably hear my voice overlapping twice because I accidentally forgot to remember to not do that.
Yeah, I've been doing editing on audio dramas lately, and I know how that is. But it's like I'm usually the only one who really notices. No one else seems to, and I'm like, how do you not notice this?
It's because when we're editing, we pay attention and we're constantly hearing all the little tiny details and whatnot.
Yeah.
Versus people who just casually listen to it and don't pick up on it.
But you guys did it really well. You played off each other great. I enjoyed it.
Will and I spent 3 days together, spending like 2-3 hours over the course of 3 days, each night, writing out riffs. It's going along, pausing. Okay, it's been like 20 seconds. We need to have another riff here, even if it's not that funny. We just need to have something, or else there's too much dead air. Amethyst did her own script from her home, and then she sent it to me. I cherry picked all the best bits and combined them all together into one script.
I would never have thought of some of the riffs. I would have never imagined to do closing time, which that was the one that really made me giggle out loud.
Yeah, I can't remember why that suddenly sprung on me. I think maybe I just thought that he said closing time. I'm in my head, so I was like, okay, I'll do closing time.
Bob Crotch Rocket.
Bob Crotch Rocket. I think we wanted to make that a running gag, but it didn't end up happening.
Oh,
I thought
probably
it
just
was
as well. It's
semi-running
not that
gag.
funny.
Men's rights activists, the early days.
We struggled for just the right joke for that because we knew that there was something there just from the way he said, "I am willing to entertain your thoughts as a woman."
I made a list of my favorite ones that I'm rating off right now. An early appearance by the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That one was fairly easy because it was just a big lump of white snow, and it's like, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I'm a big Ghostbusters fan, so I always
Yeah,
love that kind of stuff. And
yeah, me too. And there's nothing wrong with a Ghostbusters riff.
Indeed.
Movie's on fire. Better cancel it.
Oh God, it's such a murky movie.
It really
and so
is.
many bits where it looks like there's actually smoke passing in front of the camera, making things even darker and hazier. And then of course, the bits where like everybody's laughing, we're making fun of Scrooge. It's funny, and then suddenly flames in front of the camera. I was like, what the hell? Are we in hell now? What's going on?
Well, I would have said it was to make the movie more artistic, more like a dream estate. But I know they're not that clever.
Yeah, it's very odd to say if some of these are just a matter of artistic choices or if it's just bottomless stupidity. Because there's artistic choices like, well, okay, the Ghost of Christmas Future is just a shadowy hand. That makes a degree of sense and as an artistic choice. But then you have stuff like where they have completely cut out Scrooge's childhood and his relationship to his sister and his father, him first meeting Belle, the breakup of Belle. He's already 1,000,000 years old at that point.
Yeah.
So he just was an asshole always, and that's the past. That's what we got to see. And the sudden addition of Belle's 24 kids.
Oof.
I don't even remember if that was a thing in the book.
I've actually never read the book. I only know it from the various TV and movie versions.
Oh, really? I actually read the book when I was in school.
I should at some point. I really should go back and read all the classics, but I'll forget.
It's a fairly easy read.
Yeah.
It's designed to be quick and just just for a time when Christmas traditions were really starting to come back. Back into the mainstream for was it Victorian England?
Yeah, it
Yes.
was Victorian era England.
Where it was becoming a thing again. So it obviously made a lot more sense to have, something easily consumable, especially for the message that Dickens was trying to write about the urban poor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a terrible, terrible adaptation. Very dreary, very depressing.
It's not nearly as good as the time he met the real Ghostbusters.
Mm.
No, yeah, like cutting all this stuff out about his childhood and his relationship with his sister is kind of important, really. Because it shows that it humanizes him. He's not just some douchebag, so to speak. It's important, and so it is weird that they really cut that stuff out. It's kind of
just looks bored half the time, especially during those early bits where like the spirit is showing him his long lost love, and he just like looks, spirit, show me no more. I am so this is not interesting to me at all. And then suddenly Ghost Christmas Present comes around, and hey, I'm suddenly really into this.
Yeah, it's definitely a very flawed adaptation. I can't see this making the rounds on Turner Classic Movies or anything.
No.
Well, actually, there is it did make it onto like a $1 DVD of public domain stuff. Although the strange thing is that version is actually even shorter, and with a different and the opening credits are different. So I don't know what the deal is there.
It's not just a book?
Nope, it's title cards instead of a book, and I think they cut out the entire dinner sequence. Not the dinner sequence. They cut out the bit with Scrooge's nephew during the Ghost Christmas Present. So it just Bob Cratchit's family during the present, and then smash cut to him in bed or something.
Weird.
So they made it. So this cut actually even made it worse. And there is another one which I'm hoping to do next year. A 30-minute version of it that's also in the public domain, made for TV in the 1950s with Vincent Price narrating it.
Yes.
And it's pretty bad.
The
novelty of Vincent Price in it really wears thin pretty quickly, and you're just left with a really mediocre version that once again cuts out a whole lot to make it work.
I have to know how they fit that in 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. How could you fit that into 30 minutes? Oh dear God.
Well, also, it's another thing. This movie, despite the fact that it's an hour and 10 minutes, cut out important bits, still added bits that were completely unnecessary, especially in the very beginning where Scrooge is closing up shop at like 7 o'clock at night, but every other store out there is still open, and we see everyone celebrating and selling crap, and a kid gets hit with a fish for some reason.
Oh, wow.
That part, that was the gold they needed to keep in.
Oh, man, I have to watch this myself at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
But, as this is the MSTieCast, and last month we did the Santa Claus discussion, I would like to briefly discuss your take on the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians comic book.
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, how did you come across it?
It was a gift to me, sent it was a donation actually from Lee from Still Gaming. And that was years and years ago when he was a lot more active in game reviewing and whatnot. He sent this to me, and I was just really shocked at it because at first I thought, well, it's probably just a photo comic because judging by the cover. But it turned out that someone had actually created a full illustrated version of the movie, and it was for Gold Key and their movie license stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it's hard to say where one is better than the other because obviously the comic does not have the same budgetary limitations as the movie did with some of the decisions. I mean, Torg is still a cardboard robot even in the comic, but he looks just a little bit more solid. And there's and I don't think there's a polar bear scene.
I was just about to ask about the polar bear because it's been a while since I watched that review of yours. I can't remember if the polar bear was in the comic or not.
Nope, they cut out the polar bear bit, which is probably for the best considering it really didn't serve much purpose other than the film.
I hate that scene. I hate that with a passion. Because that polar bear costume is just so horrid. Yeah, it's useless.
It really does. It's just a weird thing to do a tie-in to. You know,
Yeah, I mean, you expect. I mean, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians is already a B movie, probably low budget, probably designed just as a quick, cheap Christmas movie. But to have an adaptation of it, they would. I'm guessing it was probably like a group deal where they got like the licenses to a bunch of stuff and they decided, well, we got the license, might as well do it.
I suppose that's really the only one that makes sense, because
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone choosing, like, willingly, like, oh, well, we have to do Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. But I've been wrong before. But so, quite good review. If you want the MST experience, but you don't have an hour and a half, the Santa Claus Conquers the Martians review is a pretty good watch. If you want Santa Claus Conquers the Martians in 30 minutes or less,
Condensed to 30 minutes.
and you don't have time to watch
it was fun to do a review on it and to try to come up with my own jokes for it. For example, the fact that Kimar's belt basically has like 3 or 5 buttons depending on what panel it is, and they all seem to like do random things.
Yeah. It's like Inspector Gadget technology.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to briefly discuss the Harvey Fine Voice Christmas album, which you put out in December of last year. Were you able to add the extra tracks that you wanted to?
I wasn't. I just got so busy with so much other stuff, and I feel really bad about that because I wanted to give people a new incentive to check out the album again. And one of the things I wanted to do was do Thankful Heart, because I had recorded that for Atop the Fourth Wall, but I didn't have time to get the license for it previously. So I decided, hey, this year I will get the license for it, and I will put that audio up because I had already recorded it, and they never got back to me.
Oh, jeez.
Because there are official websites for licensing music, and I submitted the paperwork, and I never got a confirmation saying that okay, you can do your cover, and I don't know what the hell happened there.
Bureaucracy, you're soaking in it.
I wonder if they even ever actually took my money.
I hope not. How much would that have cost?
I think that one cost about $45.
Dang.
Wow.
But how did the album come about? I'm curious about that.
Oh, just been an idea for a while. I'm a greedy, horrible, money-grubbing bastard, and I decided, well, I want to merchandise the show a bit, to help compensate for the varying RPM rates on the show. So I decided to try out things that actually require effort, for the first thing, but then can be easily reproduced, like the DVD, or in this case, the Harvey Fine Voice album. Excuse me. I asked for musicians if anyone would be interested in producing the instrumental tracks for it, and I would happily pay for it. And I got the help of one Jamie Soar, who has been very helpful with that. He also produced a little bit of music at the end of the last storyline.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits.
And in this case, I picked out 10 songs, six public domain Christmas songs, and 4 that I actually had to get the license for, which again, fairly easy. Got the Harry Fox organization, they got back to me in 2 days and approved my license for the covers.
Wow.
Quite fast.
Yeah, the problem being that Thankful Heart and the Muppet Music is owned under a different licensing studio, so that's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
But there you go.
Have you thought about doing a different non-seasonal Christmas album, or not Christmas, album for Harvey Fine Voice?
I have. It's really a matter of cost justifying it, and the Harvey Fine Voice album took a while to make back the money that I had spent on producing it. So I'm thinking actually that probably won't happen for a while, and right now I'm going to focus on other things that will be worth the cost and benefit of it. In this case, I'm producing a second DVD, which I'm hoping to have out by April, and then we are going to have the Atop Fourth Wall episode guide, which, hey, we're on the MSTieCast. I can say I'm going to try to structure like the Amazing Colossal episode guide.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Obviously, I can't have the host. It's not going to be like host segments because I don't really have that. But there will be an explanation of the comic in a humorous manner. I'll have ruminations, storyline descriptions of what's going on, favorite jokes, that kind of stuff.
Oh, that sounds really awesome.
Very cool. Would that be like a physical book, or would you offer it as like a PDF or an ebook?
It will be a physical book, and I'll definitely have an ebook version available because I'm probably going to go through Lulu. Which I've used before for my long ago old shame of my self-published books.
Which you can buy right now.
Which I hope you don't buy right now, because they're not very good, and they were written when I was like 14.
Again, sorry about telling everyone about your fan film, Lewis.
No, it's perfectly okay. I mean, that one at least I think I was funny. The video quality is just crap, but at least I thought I was funny.
Has it been easier to like try to do like riffing now compared to that when you were younger, or is it?
What a few things have helped with that. One, I don't have the burden of trying to put in the silhouettes. A lot of the problem that we had with the fan film that I did was proper recording equipment, because I didn't have proper recording equipment. I had like a tiny computer microphone, which me and my two friends huddled around a laptop watching the movie, and then reacting to the riffs as they came up on screen and trying to line them up properly, and also trying to add the effects using what I consider very primitive technology even for the time.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to edit it all together and make it cohesive and make it loud enough, because of course the tiny computer microphone didn't record very good audio quality, hence why there's lots of background hiss.
But the puppets look great.
Well, the puppets look well. The puppets are cardboard and spray paint.
For a cardboard puppet, they look pretty good. And the effects are better than anything I could do in any 3D program so far.
Well, if I tried to do this again nowadays, I could definitely do it a lot better because I know more about what I'm doing. For example, I have better technology. What I would do is I have a big white sheet and screen now, and I have my own lighting equipment, so I can properly do the silhouettes if I really wanted to. I'd be able to add them in better into the screen, and I'd be able to record audio at a much higher quality than I did before.
Yeah, and actually, last time you were here, I said you should try and do the Doctor Who movies for like a sequel, and then Riff Tracks did it.
Yeah, Riff Tracks did it. They did them really funny.
Yeah, I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one yet, but the first one was actually really funny. I really liked that.
Riff Tracks did it is like the MST3K fandom equivalent of Simpsons did it.
Yeah, and they're usually so good at them. I'm actually really surprised that by the fact that they haven't done some of these shorts. For example, Holiday from Rules, I'm really shocked they have not done yet. Holiday from Rules is just such an insane little short of like horrible misery and injuries to children, and it's like, what the hell? And you really have to wonder why they haven't touched it yet.
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. I'm sure like next week it'll be out.
You never know.
Like that seems to happen. I think the last time Mike Hagan from Mystery Phantom Theater was on here, he talked about some shorts, and then like the next week Riff Tracks announced they were coming out.
Ha. Well, I hope they do it, because while I think my version is funny, they're the professionals. They'd probably do it funnier.
Yeah, I always look forward to when they have something new, especially the video on demand, because I can watch those easily.
That's the other thing that holds me back from doing something like the Doctor Who movies, because the big advantage of doing Scrooge was that it's in the public domain.
Right.
And I much prefer doing public domain stuff because I don't want to get in trouble in any regard, which is why my MST3K fan film lasted. It is just basically a bootleg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, I think Riff Tracks have their own for Star Trek motion picture now.
They have not. They've done a lot of the other Star Trek movies. They have not done motion picture, at least as far as I know.
It's weird they haven't done the motionless picture.
I think they would say it's probably just too boring.
Yeah, I wonder if they could mine anything really good, because there is a lot of dullness,
Well,
and
see-
that's coming from another truck fan.
Well, see, there you go. You re-recorded that one and put it up as an iRiff.
I'm thinking about that actually.
That's actually not a
Yes.
bad idea.
Do it.
In this case, it'll probably be a while before I do another full-length riff, because that was a pain in the neck. I anticipated it would go quickly because I'm used to just recording a riff for like a 10-minute thing, only using my own voice, one audio source. It's all good. I can just get through it really quickly. It takes a lot of work to do an hour and 10 minutes worth.
Yeah.
And I have to work from at least 2 different files, trying to match everything up and move along and get the timing exactly right.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
So yeah, that took all night on Christmas Eve, because my family was not getting together on Christmas Eve. We had gotten together with one half of the family on the 22nd or 23rd, and then we were getting together with the other half of the family on the 25th. So I was like, okay, just gotta work on it, gotta get it done. Oh god, this is taking forever. Calling up, are we having Christmas at night or in the afternoon? Because I just want to know if I'll be able to get any sleep.
Oh, jeez.
It was worth it. It all worked out. I got it done.
Yeah, I was up all night trying to get out my own video, and well into it was the night before Christmas Eve, and then well into as I was my way out the door to spend Christmas with my family. It was a mess, because for some reason I have a really crappy laptop, and it takes forever to render anything. So it takes like 2 hours and change to render one pass of a 30-minute video. It's forever. So and then it messed up, and then it like crashed, so I had to redo it, the whole thing, and it was like halfway done. And anyway, enough about my problems. We don't care about your problems, Toby. Just do another episode.
Exactly.
Tell a werewolf joke. Come to the conclusion: dim bones, dim dry bones, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Also, going back to iRiffs, I'm surprised no one's done any for Power Rangers now that they're on I can't talk. Now that they're on like Netflix and they're on DVD and stuff, I'm surprised no one's done any downloadable commentaries for those.
And the problem with Power Rangers is that a lot of time it moves too quickly to riff on. And this is a problem I even run into sometimes with while trying to write up a riff. It's that the dialogue is just moving far too quickly to make any jokes, or otherwise you have lots of good joke opportunities, but since the dialogue is already going over it, you can't time it out properly. I've had to artificially quicken some jokes just to make sure that the setup is still there for the next one.
Right. Yeah, it's always better when you have a movie that has like at least some little brief pauses of dialogue, so you can insert a joke into them, rather than when it's like rapid fire dialogue and kind of like, okay, it's like you don't want to talk over that.
There were some guys that did like Power Rangers riffs on YouTube a while back, and they were really good, but then they got taken down by Saban for copyright.
Of course.
And I wonder what happened to them, because I think they should give Riff Tracks a whirl, the iRiff section. I think it'd be pretty cool with them if they're listening to this, which I doubt they are. I think they were like Mystery MPR Theater or something like that. I don't really remember. It was a couple years ago.
Well, it's kind of easier now to get the series with Shell Factory getting their hands on the rights, and they releasing that gigantic, massive set that not too long ago.
Which, by the way, Liz, can we just say how great Shout Factory is?
Yes,
indeed.
Because
Shout Factory have been amazing, not just for Power Rangers, but for MST3K. For they released all the Gamera movies too.
Yeah, like the thing we thought we'd never get.
I mean,
they got it.
Yeah, I mean, what they've done with like the licensing we talked about before on the show is just like mind blowing, between like Gamera and episodes they thought we'd never see released. Like they finally got Puma Man, which was like put me over the moon for the next box set.
And they put up Turkey Day with Joel, and it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. They are an amazing company. I've always enjoyed a lot of their releases, not just MST3K. They've put out a lot of other good stuff.
They gave us a proper MST3K the movie DVD and Blu-ray pack, which is awesome.
I love that. It's glorious.
I still don't own it, but I borrowed it from a friend.
You should. It is well worth it. It has the deleted scenes, both from the riffing during the movie and the Lost Host segment and alternate ending.
Yeah.
The quality is a bit down, of course, but it's still better than the blurry YouTube stuff. So
yeah, I wonder if they'll ever get to find like the good quality of it. That would be nice, but at least it's nice they at least have it in some form. It's rough, but at least we have it.
Yeah.
That stuff should never been cut. I was watching that the original ending and the meteor shower scene. Those should not have been cut from the movie. Those were really funny.
Absolutely not.
Indeed.
Anyways, we're coming up on the end of our time. Again, Lewis, thank you so much for talking to us. It's always really cool to have you on here.
It's no problem. It was a blast.
And I believe Monday or tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Sunday when it comes out, I believe you're doing Aspar.
All-Star Batman and Robin #7, which is what I'm going to be going back to editing right now.
Oh, goody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Miller time right around the corner.
It's no problem. This one is actually slightly better than last time because there's not lots and lots of different timestamps.
What time is it?
It's just standard issue, really bizarre dialogue choices, and Crazy Steve being stupid.
Oh, goody. Well, I look forward to it. Do you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
Check out the riffs. I've put up 2 now on my YouTube syndication page, older ones, and of course I have a new one out right now, Family Life, and check out the Scrooge riff because that one took a lot of work.
All right. Again, thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you.
I'm Toby Mobius.
I'm Justin Toner.
This has been the MSTieCast. Thank you very much for listening.
Keep it up, Tim. He's buying it.
Anything your little heart desires, your slightest wish is my command. There's nothing I won't do. I'm so in love with you. Anything your little heart desires, just say the word and I'll be on hand to make